Amber Heard. Why did she wear a bee earring? Hello, I'm H.G. Tudor. You are probably aware that Amber Heard told us that her dog stepped on a bee, which rather amused me, H.G., because Amber Heard is simply an awful actress, category Z, driven by her narcissism daily. She clearly is a catastrophe. We were entertained by the reference to her telling us about her dog stepping on a bee, and in parts passing of this series about Amber Heard, I have explained to you why she said what she said, and, just as importantly, why she pulled that ridiculous face thereafter. But then, eagle-eyed individuals have noticed that she has been wearing an earring with a bee. Now, there has been something of a bee motif between Depp and Heard. If I remember correctly, I think he had one on his tie. And she has worn a bee previously. Is this a case, again, that she's aping him, mirroring him? Well, possibly. However, there is another reason why the bee made an appearance on her ear. While she has been mirroring Johnny Depp with regard to clothing choices, and I've explained in a separate part why that is, the presentation of the bee on the ear is down to a different reason altogether. As you know from my detailed examination, Amber Heard is a narcissist. You will also know from my work that this means, as an unaware narcissist, she unconsciously seeks the prime aims: fuel, control, character traits, and residual benefits. Control and fuel are the most important aspects of that. If you threaten a narcissist's control by ignoring us or challenging us about what we've been doing, then we have to deal with that through one of the 3 assertions of control. There is no debate, no choice, no option, but it has to be dealt with, and we invariably always obtain that control through one of those different methods. Knowing what is going on is part of the assertion of control. That's why you find certain narcissists are particularly nosy, having a sense of entitlement to know about your business, not recognising boundaries, so keeping their nose out, keeping their nebber out of your business, and not having any accountability for their actions. The narcissist invariably needs to gather information. Whether it's eavesdropping on a conversation, going through your phone, rooting through the drawers of your desk, accessing an area that they shouldn't be in, rooting around for information, stealing information perhaps from a workplace of confidential nature. The narcissist needs information because whilst you are aware of the phrase knowledge is power, in the world of the narcissist, information equates to control, and an absence of information threatens our sense of control. This need for information means that certain narcissists do watch their own press. They will deny it where challenged in certain instances, but they watch what's going on social media. They either delve in themselves, looking at what has been reported about them, or where they're suitably resourced through having a staff and having money, they'll have press officers, publicists, etc., that are instructed to tell them what's going on. This is their assertion of control, both over the person they're asking to provide the information and also over the world generally. I need to know what they're saying about me. In some instances, it's done with the expectation of receiving favourable responses. My public love me. My fans adore me. And thus the narcissist drinks in the positive fuel that's provided by videos, broadcasts, comments that are made positively, adoringly, lovingly, admiringly about that narcissist. Similarly, the narcissist will, though not all, take an interest in the downsides. It's still fuel, and therefore it is taken and received. But of course, when the narcissist reads about a comment that has been made adversely, then that's a challenge. And that's why, for instance, there was a time when Taylor Swift would go after people on social media where she saw that they wrote something critical about her. Her narcissism caused her to have to assert control, and she did so directly, confronting that individual through social media. With Amber Heard, there is no doubt that she takes notice of what is being stated about her. And unless you've been living under a rock, you won't have failed to have noticed the plethora of bee-related paraphernalia splurging all over the internet as people mocked her facial expression, came up with ditties about the bee, and opined about why on earth she said what she said. She will have seen all of this. She will have noticed this. Her narcissism in its quest for control through the provision of information leads her to look at what's on social media about her, both the good and the bad. It will cause her to look at what's being stated about her in the press, what's being broadcast about her. Now, some narcissists just rise above it. Generally speaking, this tends to be the greaters, the ultra, whereby it's understood that people will have differing views, and being focused upon other matters in the rarefied atmosphere of the environment in which those types of narcissists operate, they haven't got time to sit around looking at what's stated about them on social media. Or even if it does come to their attention, it generally amuses us and we ignore it and get on with other matters. Ignoring it, of course, is an assertion of control by remaining in a position of withdrawal. For somebody like Amber Heard, the need for control causes her to want to find out what's being said about her. She then sees that everybody's mocking her, or a lot of people rather are mocking her, with regard to the bee observation. This is challenge fuel. It's great that people are commenting about her. She's gaining fuel from many, many tertiary sources. That's not the problem. The problem for her is it's challenge fuel. She's being mocked. She's being derided. She's being criticised. She's being queried. Her narcissism cannot stand idly by and do nothing about this. It must direct her to assert control. It doesn't cause her to start putting comments on social media saying, "Fuck you, motherfucker." It doesn't cause her to try and find out who these people are and pay them a visit in person saying, "Why are you writing such awful things about me on social media?" That would not be a suitable application of resource by her narcissism, so it doesn't take her down that route. Of course, in a more personal setting, it will do. So, for instance, if you happen to have rejected what the narcissist has been saying about you by perhaps speaking to a handful of friends and pointing them to what really happened in your relationship, and that gets back to the narcissist sees that as a form of smearing, because through their perspective, you're telling lies about them. And that may well precipitate a hoover where they approach you and say, "What do you think you're doing at chatting shit about me to my friends?" They're asserting control over you, seeking to nullify the threat posed by what you said about the narcissist to the narcissist's friends. The scale of comment, of course, about Amber Heard means that her narcissism isn't going to cause her to try and track down each and every individual to pay them a personal visit, or even to start sparring with them on social media. What it could do, of course, is cause her to assert control indirectly, by making comments to those in her coterie about, "Look at all of these mouth-breathing, gawping idiots who are Team Johnny. They don't know the truth. How can they not believe me?" And the relevant flunky tugs the forelock and admits that, yes, they're awful human beings. They should believe you, Amber. Keep going. You'll get there in the end. Praise, etc. That, of course, demonstrates the relevant flunky is under control, and it also would afford Herd the unconscious sense of control over the masses who've been mocking her about the bee. In this occasion, this didn't happen. What you have been subjected to, where perhaps you have been involved in mocking her through the bee memes, etc., is that she has actually taken the proverbial dump on you, akin to the shit that she took in the bed in relation to Johnny Depp. Yes, the wearing of the bee earring is quite simply a fuck you to each and everybody individual that has mocked her about the "my dog stepped on a bee." It is the equivalent of the turd in the bed. I've explained in a recent part why she did what she did with regard to curling one off in the bed. Here, it's the jewellery equivalent. What she's doing is saying, I know you're all mocking me, because I am the great Amber Heard, and I know everything. You can mock me all you like, you silly little people, but I'm wearing this to say to you, I know. And in her little world, that wearing of the earring gives her the thought fuel that she's flipping the bird to each and every individual that has mocked her. She gains some thought fuel from that, and more importantly, it creates a sense of control. She doesn't think of it in terms of control because she is an unaware narcissist, but that is what is achieved. In the way similar to pinching a loaf in the bed, her wearing this earring is demonstrating to all those that have been mocking her about the bee meme, etc., that she is saying to them, I know you've been laughing at me. I see you. And I'm above you. And I'm going to take the piss out of you by wearing this. And that is why she's done it. It is control over all of those many thousands, perhaps tens of thousands, people who have mocked her. It is the jewellery equivalent of the turd in the bed. I'm H.G. Tudor. Thank you for listening.